You ever see that one movie that has 100,000 celebrities in it, and you're wondering to yourself, when is that movie going to drop this year? Well, it's this movie. And because of that, Sneaks falls through. Also, if you like this video, guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you would like to know how the cinema scale weighs movies, check my description box below. Guys, back on the cinema scale, we are taking a first look at the 2025 animated sports comedy film, Sneaks. The film is directed by Rob Edwards and Welsh animator and storyboard artist Chris Jenkins. The film stars Anthony Mackie as Ty, Martin Lawrence as JB, with Keith David as OG, the coolest converse around, and Lawrence Fishburne as the collector. The film also features a different cameo artist appearance such as Macy Gray and Mustard, whom is the music producer and the original song artist creator for the music in this film. The movie focuses on the life of this kid. Wait, or so you would think, right? The movie focuses, or is supposed to focus, on the life of this kid, the owner of a one-of-a-kind pair of sneakers, but they become stolen. He's won the sneakers in a raffle. They become stolen by someone whom is obsessed with having these sneakers. Well, while in transit, one of the sneakers manages to escape, breaks free, and separates himself from his pair. Lost in the streets of New York City, this sneaker teams up with JB, played by Martin Lawrence, in order to find himself back to his pair and thus reconnect with their rightful owner. This movie is literally a knockoff of Toy Story. It carries that same element, that same vibe. The toys go to sleep when the humans are not around. The sneakers go to sleep when the humans are not around. This movie carries an element of inanimate objects coming to life. They have this character, they have this developing, they have this development that occurs throughout the movie. And one of the things that makes this movie interesting is that you would think it's a shout out to sneakerheads, but you kind of get a cringy, creepy take on sneakers. There are some jokes in this movie that you're thinking to yourself, ugh, that's disgusting. I never thought of wearing a sneaker like that. While some may find those moments comedic, there are moments where there could be some unsettling. Now, this is geared toward a kid's audience. And so one of the questions you're going to ask is, will my child enjoy this film? Well, one of the things that I'll be able to tell you is that it's going to be difficult for a child to connect with this film because there is no character development. The character development is slow. So the film highlights the character of whatever this kid's name is. They only said his name a few times because he was in a few scenes, so you don't really know him. But you know that he's a Latino kid living with a single mom whom has a love for sneakers. And mom tries her best to balance his family dynamic so that he doesn't feel deprived. But the reality of the matter is your children won't feel connected with this movie because there isn't anything to connect with. Sure, there are sneakers that talk and they tell jokes, and there are funny moments. Like there's some epic scenes in which the sneakers shine or step into the role of comedy. But the reality is there is no emotional substance here. Now, your child may find it funny that these sneakers talk and they do silly things, but outside of that, you're not getting much glue to keep them connected to this film. Another thing that really made this movie sink in despair was that there were just too many plot points. Okay, so you have this kid over here is sad because he lost the sneakers, so he thinks. Then you have the antagonist in this film, played by Lawrence Fishburne, the collector, whom was awesome. I think that every time, or I felt as though every time the collector was on screen, I had fun. I enjoyed his character. He was very intimidating. You didn't know which direction he was going to go into, but of course, we're dealing with Lawrence Fishburne. That's just his everyday dynamic. But his storyline is also carried through in the film. And then you add to that, the sneakers have their own adventure and storyline. So trying to change or juggle these three plot points within an hour and 32 minutes, it's a 92-minute runtime, that will make anybody confused, tired, and a little bit dragged toward the end of the film. The animation style was another thing that really stood out in this movie as something that just was tiresome. I mean, I know that we're in the year 2025, and I'm sure they made this movie with some of that modern chemistry in mind, while trying to combine it to old, or combined the old style animation with the new style animation or retro graphics. But it just came out very irritable to one's eye. On the screen, there are a lot of sequences of action and adventure, highlights of New York City, and it's hard for you to connect with that believability because of the fact that the graphics and the animation are just so terrible. I mean, they could have really polished up some of those moments, but they didn't. But there was some good choice of music in this movie. I did find myself reaching for my phone to be able to identify what kind of music was being played because there were some emotional melodies carried out throughout this film. But the family sitting back behind me were just, I didn't hear the kids laugh not once. It was mother, father, and two kids. And it was evident that this movie did not resonate with them. If I had to classify this movie in a few words, I would say boring, unentertaining. It lacks a clear message. It lacks a why. It lacks a motive. And that's going to be the most important thing when you're dealing with a movie like this. So if you are a sneakerhead, sorry, but this is not a movie that's going to be able to make you feel or strengthen your love for sneakers. Now, were there post-credit scenes? I don't know, because I was so annoyed that I walked out of the theater. And then some guy walked in too, and that kind of ruined it in the middle of the end of the movie, if that makes any sense. So guys, that was Sneaks on the cinema scale. Let us know in the comment box how this movie resonated with you. Did you see it? Are you going to skip it? And do you think it's worth your time, or should you catch it on stream? Let me know in the comment box, and we'll catch you guys in the next review.